Right everyone, so today I'm going to do a video on the introduction to Gunshot. Now for me, introducing Gunshot is something I want to do carefully and gradually. You hear people talking about dogs being gun shy. Most dogs that end up gun shy are normally because they've done the introduction incorrectly. So it's nothing to do with overexposing the dog at a young age or anything like that. It's about introducing it when the standard of the dog is good enough to cope with a certain protocol that I like to go through. And that really, my preferred technique is through a retrieve. If I can get that dog to associate hearing a certain sound in conjunction with something they like, then you can get the dog comfortable with that sound because it's something that gives them excitement. Hence, if you've ever been on a shoot date, most of the dogs there probably aren't gun shy, but you hear them getting excited when they start to hear the gunshot, because that's an association for them. And I treat every dog like it could potentially end up being gun shy. And I go through a selection of things that I do first to try and reduce the very chances of you ending up creating a dog that's nervous around gunshot. I'm not one for taking them to close shoots or on shoot days. Lots of people say this to me. Don't be you one of those people. Oh, I just took the dog to let it see what it was like. Don't do that. If it's fine, you'll probably go, hey Chris, I fired my 12 gauge right over the top of my dog and he's fine. That's great. Your dog was predisposed to being okay with that, but I wouldn't take that risk. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is making sure we've got the dog at a standard where I can sit them up a reasonable distance for me, throw a retrieve, and I'm going to be doing that gunshot at a certain point in amongst that retrieve so that dog starts to associate the shot, with something that they enjoy. Now, you might have seen a lot of my videos, you see me clapping my hands. Often I'll do that at a certain point when I first start throwing a retrieve. And that's to get the dog used to hearing a certain sound at a certain point. And it's often when the dummy's in the air, I'm doing a loud clap, or as loud as I can. Obviously it's nothing like a gunshot, but it's getting that dog used to hearing a different sound at an appropriate time when the dog is focused on something they like. And that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to talk to you, Cameron, first how I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get I was going to call him Trigger then, as one of my old springers, going to bring out Billy. Now, I have literally done no gunshot at all with them, so this will be like the first time that I've done it. I'm going to do introduction to gunshot in two ways. I'm going to start off doing it today in this episode using a starting pistol, and then I'm going to make another episode where I'm actually using my 28 bore. I prefer to start on a 410 or a 28 because it is significantly quieter, and then you can wrap them up. Once that dog is associating hearing a sound at a certain point, you'll be absolutely fine. But in the early stages, this is how I do it. Now, there's some points, really key points here for me that I do. So the first thing is I want to be able to sit the dog up a reasonable distance from me, maybe 15, 20 yards. I'm going to be doing a donkey trot retrieve. It really isn't about testing the retrieve at all. It's just so that the dog is focused on that. I'm going to be throwing retrieve out to the side, and I'm going to start off by firing my starting pistol in my bag. And that's to muffle the sound. The other real key point at the beginning is do this in an open space. Don't do this in woodland because it makes the sound louder. The other thing is I want to do this with the wind in my face. That means that the sound of the shot is going behind me and not towards the dog. So these are all things to reduce the sound of the starting pistol. With a 2-2 starter, it's quite a crack. Okay, so as I said, I tend to start off firing it in my bag against the bag. Don't set light to your bag. Just to muffle the sound. And as the dog gets more comfortable with it, I bring the gun out further and further. Now on this gun here, the sound comes out the top. So if I fire like that, the sound is going back that way, which is what I want. The wind's in my face, the dog's facing me, I'm going to throw the retrieve out to the side, fire the shot in my bag. If that goes okay, then I'm going to slowly bring that out. And as that gets better, I can then move closer and closer to the dog. Eventually, I'll sit the dog up next to me. I'll often fire a shot down a line where I'm doing a straight retrieve and then send it. And actually, gunshot can be great for installing into the dog that there is a retrieve at the end of that gunshot. As I said, when I do introduction to gunshot 2, which is going to be using a shotgun, I will be doing some other bits with that. But I just wanted to cover these core essentials today. What I would recommend is there's lots of different starting pistols you can get out there. Don't get the revolver style. Good catch, Chris. Don't get the revolver style. Get these ones that look like a proper gun. Okay. So this one here, I'm going to come a bit closer to show you, has a magazine in the top. You slot it in the end, and each time you fire the round, it just loads on the next one. I don't like the revolver ones. They're very poorly made. They can quite easily go wrong. They don't work that well. So spend another 20 or 30 quid and get a decent one. Now, when we start introducing this, I'm gonna get the dog out, sit him up facing me. I'm gonna start off by doing a clap, then I'm gonna do a shot in my bag. And I'll show you what I mean by the shot in the bag. So basically I'm gonna have my hand there, I'm gonna throw the dummy out, and then I'm gonna fire the shot like that. It's quite a crack. It's quite a crack, okay? I don't know how it's gonna come across on the camera. So in a minute, I'm gonna go get the dog, sit him up, we'll do some simple retrieves and I'll work our way through this. As I said, this is real time. Never done this with Billy. I'm pretty sure that he's gonna be comfortable with this. Right, time to go get him. I'm going to bring Billy round here and I'm going to show you these few stages. Now, Billy here. Now, he really, really loves a dummy with anything natural on it. So I'm going to use one of my dummies with a partridge pelt round it. And he really, really likes that. So hopefully he'll be a bit more focused on that. So the first retrieve, sit, Billy. Remember, this isn't about the retrieve. This is literally about timing. So I've got my retrieve here. I'm going to throw it out to the right. I'm going to do a clap, send him, meet him back on the spot, and go from there. So here we go. I'm gonna throw it in the air, bit of a clap. I'm just gonna send him for that. So remember, this really isn't about the retrieve. This is just about, Billy, here. Good boy, good boy. Sit. So the next one, I'm gonna stand a little bit further back from him because I'm gonna fire the starting pistol in my bag. I'm gonna put my hand in the bag with the dummy already. I'm gonna throw it in the air. He's focused on that. He has moved. I'm not going to worry about that for now. Good lad, good lad. Yeah. Sit. Dead, dead. Now, the cartridges that I'm using today have been sat around for a while, so they're a bit damp. So that first one I fired didn't go off. My fault. I haven't used any of these for quite some time. So if you buy a fresh pack, they probably won't be damp, and so therefore each one will probably go off. So I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to fire it behind my head, okay? Don't do it near your ear, guys, whatever you do, because it is very, very loud. So here we go. Sit, Billy. Sit. Good lad. See, not even a flinch from him. Good boy. Billy, why are you going round me, young man? Sit. Good boy. Dead. All right, so I'm going to do that again now. And check how many shots I've got left. I've got 2 left, so I'm going to go again, and this time I'm going to fire straight up. Wind is in my face, by the way. So I'm going to throw it straight up. See, he's not even paying any attention to this, which is great. Good lad. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Now, sit. I would say, like, I've seen his early reaction to this, he's not bothered at all. This is pretty much what I was expecting from him. He's never shown any signs of being uncomfortable with noises, etc. So I'm going to stand a little bit closer to him this time. So maybe about here. I'm going to throw the dummy a bit further. It might go off shot this time. I'm going to fire it straight up. Boy, sit. Good lad. Good lad. Here, Billy, Billy. Here, sit. Dead, dead, sit. Now, I've come to the end of this magazine now, so I'm going to empty it. Right, so I've just reloaded. These ones are a bit fresher. They don't look particularly damp, so hopefully every single one of these will go, which is good. So I'm going to stand this a little bit closer to him this time. I'm going to put the dummy out again and just going to fire the shot straight up. I'm not firing at him. Remember, it's not the end of the barrels. It's coming out the top of this on this gun. So I'm going to point like that. I'm not pointing at it. It means the sound's going up rather than directly towards him. I'm going to throw it out to the side. And then I'm going to send him. Good boy. Good boy. Well done. You don't mind that, do you? Good lad, sit. Dead, dead. So if your dog was exhibiting any signs of being unsure, then I wouldn't increase the distance down this quick. I genuinely haven't done this before with him, but I was pretty sure this was how he was going to be. So I'm actually going to do a couple of other retrieves now. So this is where I'm going to have him sat by my side. I'm going to throw the dummy, okay? And then I'm going to send him. I'll do this with my back to the camera so you can see what I mean. So I'm going to come around here, bring him to heel, sit. So I'm going to throw the dummy. I'm going to fire at the dummy as it's going. Here we go. Sit. Split. Good lad. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Ah, ah, ah. Here, come on. Here. Good lad. Dead, dead. Heel, 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 heel. Sit. So we're going to go again now. So I'm going to throw it again. Nice long throw. We're going down the wind here. So not so much relevance to the gunshot, but because the wind's going this way, he's got to go past the retrieve for him to be able to scent this. And here he might get a rough mark, but I haven't done an awful lot of marking work with either of them. I tend to work on steadiness and I find the marking comes. I always say a good dog can't win a competition if it runs in, but it can still win if you have to have a little bit of handling. So for me, personally, it's not for everyone. Some people love the dog to absolutely mark to a penny and they send their dog straight away to work on that. That's fine. But at a novice level, I find your dog is more likely to end up running in and giving you a poor dog long term. I'd rather have the dog miss mark and be steady and me still be able to pick the bird than the dog running in and getting that habit of doing that. So I'm going to throw it a long way again. Split. Now that time, now I stopped him there because I knew he was the other side of the wind, gave him the hump whistle, he's facing the wind, and then the hump whistle, dead, dead, sit. So the hump whistle is a break out of sit. So anytime the dog hears the hump whistle, they're free to hunt. And so if I've stopped him there, I knew he'd run past it, that's fine. Stopped him, he span round, I know he's facing the wind now. Hump whistle breaks him out of sit, you can hunt that area and then pick that retrieve. Now that time I did 2 shots. Sometimes I do 2 shots, sometimes I do 3. And the reason is, again, I've seen this at trials, sometimes the dogs don't run in on the first shot. It's very common for dogs to run in on the shot and not on the flush. And so I like to have multiple shots because sometimes you might be out shooting and you miss, you take 2 shots, it misses, someone else takes 2 shots. And a lot of dogs can get in the habit of running in on the 2nd or 3rd or 4th shot and not on the first one. So I like to often do 2 shots. So I'm going to do that one more time. You're pretty keen for this, aren't you, Billy? Sit. Make him wait a little bit longer. Split. Sit. Good lad. Now at this stage now, I know I'm going off topic here. Billy, sit. At this stage now, anytime my dog is in the area, I will do my hump whistle. I'm not going to do that forever, but whilst the dog is learning to hump something out, I'm going to do that hump whistle brr, 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 constantly, constantly, constantly. Eventually, once the dog really understands that that means hunt that area, I might just do 1 long blast and that's enough. People say to me, oh, you're doing too much hump whistle, you're doing too much of this and that. It's only whilst I'm teaching the dog. Later on, I reduce everything down to the absolute bare minimum I can. Now there, I knew he overshot it again, so I stopped him, dropped down to make myself receptive, called him back towards me, also backed myself up with my voice. In training, that's what you want to do, always back yourself up. And then I called him towards me, to get him that little bit closer, and then gave him that hump whistle again. And anytime that dog's in the area at this stage, I will keep doing that hump whistle. Brr, brr, brr. So the dog starts to associate hearing that sound when they're about to pick it. And as I said, eventually it's just going to be that hump whistle. Billy, heel. Sit. So that's my basic introduction. Now, I'm not expecting you to do that all in one session. You might do that over 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even longer. But for him today, I could see he was good with it. In fact, it helped him, I think. A lot of dogs it does. So anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and like. We do also have a new stud page on Facebook for Billy and Charlie for this summer coming, when hopefully I shall start using them for the first time and then competing them next winter. The stud page is We're Not Clean Spaniel Stud Dogs. Get that right, Chris. So perhaps go and give us a follow over there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help us. Any questions, put them in the description below and I'll do my best to help you. Billy, well done. Happy training, guys. Come on.